Howdy, folks. One more just in time, Hotspur. Hello on this miserable Tuesday evening. Thanks for being with us. It's not going to be a miserable show. We've got a fantastic panel, I can promise that. We have a great show ahead planned. 5 days until, our game's Sunday, so 5 days till Villa, 5 days until the international break is done. We don't have to worry about it until, I think, end of Jan, start of Feb, something like that. But the Christmas period, it's going to be unbelievable. We're, 2, 3 weeks away, 4 weeks away, when it gets really, really, really crazy. So as I said, great panel. Dan, co-host on the Hotspur Hood. Ian, you haven't been on for a while, my friend.
No, and I need to...
Spain, England.
I can apologise to you. I mean, I know you've asked me 3 or 4 times, and I've always been, I'm in Spain, I'm here, I'm there. I can't do it. I'm going here, I'm going there. So it's an absolute pleasure to be on, Tommy. Thank you for persisting. And just a point to watch the point, FC. We're on Jewish time tonight, so we did start on time, 10 minutes late.
Don't blame me. Blame the people backstage.
Greek time's always late, definitely.
Haz is even later. Haz just came on during the intro, so come on.
Yeah, Greek
Ryan,
time, as you say.
So Ian, I'm gathering, is in Blighty at the moment. You're not, Brian. You're back you're back in the great land of Canada. I said it's miserable here. What's the weather? What did you say it was there?
No, like I said, I mean, it's 3 degrees here today, which is still, I mean, we still haven't had a snow here in Toronto and where I am. Other parts of Canada have now been starting to get hit. But normally right about now, we're in the minuses. We're starting to know that there's a dip in weather, but it's not been too bad here at all. It's 3 degrees. And like I said, if I go out, I can go out in a T-shirt in 3 degrees. He says that indoors wearing a thick woolly jumper. So take of it what you will.
We had Thiago on Sunday. It's 45 degrees in Brazil. Nobody can step foot out of their house. It's insane.
No. I would rather be in cold than be in heat because it's easier to warm up than it is cool down.
Exact opposite for me.
You'd rather be in the heat, Ryan?
Oh, big time. Big time.
Yeah, absolutely. Every time.
You moved to the wrong country, I think.
Well, no, I moved to the wrong country for 3 months of the year. Our spring and summer are absolutely boiling.
Oh, fair play.
And Ian will find out in August.
Look, my life is not complete. My life's not complete until I meet a Mountie. You know, I grew up with that. What's that Tuesday show? What was that show? It used to be on BBC Two.
I can't remember. You come out and see me. I'll take you to go see a Mountie. Put it that way.
Okay.
It's a deal. It's a deal. Big up everyone in the chat. Thanks for coming tonight. Now, Haz, I haven't seen you for a while either. What are you up to, my friend? Did you do a show earlier?
No.
Oh, you put a link down. You put a YouTube link on the group chat. I thought, was that you?
Or no. That was I put a video. It's like a 15-minute video. It's just about Tottenham in general. Because got a lot of problems at the moment, as you know.
Go over to Hotspur and get over there and watch it after you've seen the show.
It's a good video. It's like trying to find solutions to the problems because, as you know, Levy's left us short in loads of areas as usual. So yeah.
And of course, Brian, Tottenham on tour. In fact, let's get these up. I think I've forgot to put these on again. The headlines. I'm sure.
There you go.
I'm just going to put Hood. There you go. Yes. Right. Okay. I want to put this out first. Put you on the spot slightly, Brian, but I actually ruined the surprise backstage. So first of all, have you got a name for your cat?
Nope. And if anyone watched Ben Kaufman's stream earlier, and I'm making my wife sit down when she gets home, we are watching Ben Kaufman's stream today because one person, Jim, said, "Is there a name for the cat?" And I said, "No, not yet." And then the next 52 minutes was spent the entire time because we're getting a second cat with Double Axe. So it'll be a month that we've had him this Friday, and he's still got no name. And I'm starting to say to my wife every day right now, it's the day we name the bloody cat. So I'm hoping once she's watched this stream tonight, we will have a name. But as of yet, it's the kitten with no name still.
All right. Do you watch Game of Thrones?
Nope, never watched a single second of it. Listen, I'm not going for another stream of bloody cat names. I've got to rewatch this stream
I was going to tell you that'd be the easiest way to name a cat when you've watched Game of Thrones. Or
Yeah, we don't want your advice to names in the chat. Let's keep it Spurs, because I remember seeing a show where it was just full of it. But Gandalf is winning. Can't call it.
But honestly, that name, and my mother-in-law cannot stand that name, but Ilana loves it. But I'm doing all I can to
cannot call your cat Gandalf. That's what I'm going to say.
Well played. Well said,
right,
sir.
The second tweet had, I'm guessing, something to do with this. Dan, have you seen this from Tottenham Tears? Not just Tottenham Tears. They threw this out there this morning, but there's loads of sources. They all put it forward in a slightly different manner. But this is Tottenham Tears. The Football Association has said it is prepared to review evidence of potentially serious breaches of agent rules in a transfer involving Tottenham Hotspur, Portsmouth, and Jermaine Defoe. It was actually his move from Spurs to Portsmouth before he moved back, apparently, to 7.5 million. You surprised, Dan? And it is 15 years ago.
I know. I listened to the main thing on TalkSport earlier when they had to talk about it, and that was already when I'd already seen it and that. And I must admit, one person who does, I think, gets it right on a lot of things, the way he says it, is Simon. I think he does it the nail on the head most of the time. He's one of those people you call a prick because you like him, sort of thing. It doesn't surprise me one bit, because when money's involved and there's a way of saving money, Daniel Levy's going to be all over it one way or another. And one thing we've all bigged the man up is on how he's got us running and how people say he does it the right way, this and that and everything. But don't ever tell me that no top businessman has ever got to the top doing it straight, because that's just a lie. And yeah, we've probably just been up to things, just not to the same extent as others. I mean, from what I got the picture of, this was all down to what are they called? Who are the players? Who are the people that are meant to take control of?
Mitchell Thomas, an ex-Spurs player who is a unregistered agent at the time.
That's it. Unregistered agents and all that sort of stuff. That's how it's meant to be all around as such. But if it happened 15 years ago, I really don't see it affecting in any sort of way, except for a slap on the hand, really, because look at what happened with City when they've actually been collared for stuff that happened over a certain amount of time. It has to be forgotten about. It's like that. It's like that debt that you're in, and if you manage to avoid the debt collectors and everybody else, and they don't find you in, I think it's 6 or 7 years, it has to be dropped. So I don't think this is going to have any effect on us whatsoever, except a few words get said.
Ian, nothing's really ever come out to this extent in terms of a specific transfer deal, and I can't remember it as a Spurs fan. What do you make of it all? And Dan said he doesn't think it's going to lead to anything. Not transfer ban, no points deduction. Are you in the same? Are you thinking the same thing?
Yeah, I probably agree with Dan on this. I mean, the one thing I'm really intrigued about is where this information has come from now. That suddenly they're going to say, we're going to look at this after 15 years. I mean, there comes a point, maybe there isn't a statute of limitations in that sense. But by the same token, you'd think the FA would think, hang on a minute, how far are we going to go back and what transfers are we going to look at? You know, where will it actually stop? But if you read the wording's interesting. And I don't know if it's Tottenham Tears wording or what the Football Association has said, but read it. The Football Association has said it is prepared to review evidence. So, I mean, that's like the Crown prosecution picking up a file. That's a long way from saying Tottenham are going to be charged, Tottenham are going to be convicted, and then Tottenham are going to be either fined or have a points deduction. This is not something, if I'm honest, I think we should be worried about as fans at all at this moment in time. If we're charged, different ball game. But at the moment, reviewing evidence, don't worry about it.
Probably the biggest thing to come out of the international break so far is the whole Everton situation where they lost the deduction of 10 points. Has put them, here, I had this up from last week, it's put them 19th. So they're in a relegation battle anyway. That's killed them. I think you could say they probably can't afford the same quality of lawyers as Man City and Juventus, who have had delay after delay after delay. through the courts. You could say. I think Man City had 118 breaches or something like that. But the lawyers can get this situation adjourned and then thrown out of court, I suppose. And I suppose Spurs, we've got the best lawyers. We can afford the best lawyers too. That's for sure. If it ever does get to that stage, I suppose.
With Everton, it had been so blatant with Everton what they had done. It wasn't hard to pick it apart and say, yeah, that's more than 20 million you've screwed up. That's over 200 million you've gone OTT with and everything else. Man City are more capable of doing things, and we'll put it this way: there's a criminal will break into your house because he'll smash your window and walk right in, and then there's a criminal who had done it because he found some way to do your burglar system and something and creeped in there through picking the door lock. That's the difference between them two. Everton's one, they might as well have just kicked the bloody door off. Man City, you still got to prove they was even there because they was dressed up in SAS gear. That's how I see that one. Bit of a weird description, maybe, but still.
Does anyone agree with me that Everton have been really harshly treated?
Yep.
No.
Yep.
Look at what they've actually done, yeah? It don't just refer to 20 million that they've done with and that. Look at everything they've done. That's over, from what I picked up on, might not have the exact numbers, that's over 300 million that they've messed about with.
Yeah.
And when you know the rules are the rules. Deal with it.
I think where I'm coming from with this and where I stand within where they've been harshly done by, it's amazing how a small team like Everton gets investigated, wrapped up and dealt with pretty sharpish. But as Tommy said, the big teams with the big lawyers can just go on and on. I mean, if I'm Everton right now, I'm looking at this thinking, thank God we got the 10-point deduction this season as opposed to any other, because the 3 promoted teams are as weak as they have ever been.
Yeah.
And they probably stand a very good chance of getting out of it because
they're still not this early in the season with a 10-point deduction going over the last 2 seasons where there were unbelievable relegation candidates. You'd think they'd certainly be bottom, but they're still not bottom.
Exactly. They still get through. But where I stand with all this that's come out now is the more and more this has come out, for me, it's an absolute pile of crap. But this is what football has become now. Now, if you look at it, I remember growing up, and I remember prior to me, and I heard from my dad, my grandpa, football was about 11 players on the football pitch. And the main aim was to win the game of football, and your advantage was having the better players. Like the easiest team for me to relate to is the Liverpool dominant football team back then in the 80s, where you went to Liverpool not because of you didn't go to a football club because of the money. You went for the prestige. That was it. The way the players used to go is to try and win trophies, and that was the advantage, having the better players, the better pitch, whatever. Then you move further on into football, and it became the managers, the best manager and the best players, and managers like Alex Ferguson, Jose Mourinho, who did this brilliantly, would try to find any advantage on the pitch. Like Jose Mourinho, when 2 players go down, you've got to stop the game. You can't. They used to look for these little advantages, and they did it brilliantly. Fair play. Well, now you look at the football fan now, and rather than looking for the best players or the prestige, it now has become looking at P&L reports, looking at financial spreadsheets, looking at commercial growth, and looking at how you can scam the other one in the back end. Forget what's going on the football pitch. The days where I grew up, where and Ian and others, where supporting football clubs with buying Panini stickers and trying to swap the hologram cards and playing Subbuteo and building it up, to now literally getting an Excel spreadsheet and talking about how many financial irregularities got you trophies and playing fucking Monopoly with your football team. That's what the modern day football fan is. When my nephew grow up or anyone with kids, it's going to be, oh yeah, look at that back in 2017 when you got done for fight. This football as we know it, the game that we love, the beautiful game of England, is destroyed, is ruined. And now that this has all of a sudden come out of thin air, when Daniel Levy, and this isn't a puppet Levy, Daniel Levy was behind Manchester City and wanting their irregularities brought up. Then this whole thing comes up from Everton. Oh, Tottenham and Richarlison. And then within moments of all this breaking, somehow some archive has gone down and found a 15-year-old transfer. And let's pick this up. Like Ian said to me when me and Ian spoke privately, he goes, how far did you go back with this? Dave Mackay?
The thing is, it was a dodgy agent as well. To be honest with you, I don't know a decent agent. Certainly not an agent with principles. So
it's absolutely ridiculous. This is what football has become now.
It's business. It's not a game anymore. It's all about business now. And one thing you can definitely say is money doesn't always make you happy. Yes, it can do the most of it. It can do a hell of a lot towards it, but you can say money has pretty much destroyed football.
Look at teams like Bury.
Yeah,
run out of business that completely kaput. And you look at small teams like Bury, where their whole economy works around it. Peter Crouch did one where he went to can't remember the name of the youth team he went out to, but non-league. There's so many players, or you see these documentaries now on BBC. Robbie Savage, I can't remember, Macclesfield. That literally their hub, their whole community. Look at Wrexham, what Ryan Reynolds and I can never say that other guy's surname. The other dude. Look what they're doing for the community. Look what they're doing because Wrexham was. Look at Leyton Orient. These football clubs, and then you look at these big football teams that now just get the fancy lawyers, get whether it be foreign money, our money from Levy and Enoch. Well, what the football is a joke now. Football, it's not. I mean, Ian probably didn't see it in a million miles in the future going, this is what football will become. I certainly didn't see football becoming this way. It's no longer a sport. Like Dan said, it's a business.
Yeah. It's slid down to the players as well. It's gone down to the players as well. All the players are commodities. They're commodities. They've got their own agent. They've got their image rights. They've got their own agencies. It's very difficult to manage a football club right now with all that situation in the background. You know, if a player doesn't get first team football, we'll go to the media and cause up evil. It's just a different world. More money, more problems. And it seems like that's where we are right now. And it's not going to calm down anytime soon. Teams get £200 million just to get promoted into the Premier League. That's not with the parachute payments. It's insane.
Yep.
I mean, it's everything to do with also what goes on.
And this whole Defoe debacle. If you want somebody in the chat say we should go for Defoe again and get rid of the pigeon. Let's get him for a third time.
I must admit, you saying that, I had to laugh. Spurs put out a tweet today saying we have now got the most players that have scored Premier League goals, like as in.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, 168
and
players.
They were like, tweet who you want to see, and we'll find their first goal and put it up. And one guy straight away said, "Can you show us Jermaine Defoe's just to wind you up?" And I was like, "You cannot make this stuff up."
So yeah, Haz, your short video earlier, was it to do with any of this? The Defoe
situation? No. Obviously, this new I filmed that way before this whole news came out about.
Okay.
My opinion on the Defoe thing, I don't think anything will happen. It's happened like 15 years ago. I don't think we'll get any point deduction. I think at the very worst, we might get fined, but even then, I don't think that will happen. So I just think it's just to drum up a boring international break. So let's put some news out. That's how I saw it.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing I just mentioned very, very quickly with teams have done it. Apparently, this happened with Arsenal with the Callum Chambers deal. They got fined £60,000. It happened with Leeds. I can't remember the year that this happened, but they got £100,000 fine, and then their owners had to go to, I can't remember what it was called, but you know, if you get a speeding ticket and you have to go to one of those about speeding, they had to attend one of those. The very thought of Daniel Levy attending one of those classes just makes me die inside with laughter. Really does, just the thought of it. And then you look at Luton, who got very, very harshly punished, and it goes with what you were saying, Tommy. Arsenal 60,000, Leeds 100,000, maybe it's a little bit more. Luton, I think it was 12 points, whatever. But you look at it with I hate divers in football. Sorry to just go off on one. Divers in football, even if it's a Tottenham player, I can't stand it. I can't. So
should be a red card straight away,
or whatever they should be saying. But diving, I don't accept whether it be a.
I know Dan's very, very. He's with you. Dan said straight reds. Not yellow card, straight reds for diving.
But what I'm getting at with that is if they did it to Rangers, if they've done it to Juventus, if they're doing this to Everton, it doesn't matter how big you are. And if Tottenham have bent the rules or done something, we have to take our punishment. We can't sit here and go, Chelsea, you could get points, you could get relegated. If we've broken the law, we should be punished justly. And I think it's disgusting that teams like Rangers and Italy, where they've got balls to deal with their big guns, we'll just sit here and do whatever we can to make sure certain clubs aren't touched or tarnished, whatever. And that part's got to stop. That part has got to stop.
Right. Moving on to the thumbnail, to the headline of the title today. Some transfer rumours this week. There are always transfer rumours, and let's face it, 2.5 months since the transfer window closed, 6 weeks until it opens. We've got a new director of football. We've got a chief scout. Surely they're doing some work behind the scenes. We'd hope so anyway. There's a lot that needs to be done, especially on the depth side of things. But the big rumour that's coming out this week, Raphinha. We are low. On the wingers side, right, left, we're low. So Barcelona's Raphinha, 65. That's what they value. Barcelona value Raphinha at £65 million. Or they're saying, we'll take Romero. We'll swap him. Straight swap for Romero. Raphinha for Romero. What are you saying, Dan?
Well, I'm saying no, I wouldn't do that deal. The thing I've said I'd do is if someone offered 80, 90 million for him at the end of the season, I'd take it. As long as I would know that it'd get spent on 2 defenders. But that's where we go back to the point of Daniel Levy, money, Tottenham, the way we are. You wouldn't bet a lot on it that it get done on that. Because like I've told you how I feel about Romero. I think he's a bit of a liability, even though he's a quality player. But going back to the point of Raphinha, 60 million, okay, but is that really where we need the player? No, we need a bloody defender. So that is what we should be focusing on. But again, we only
it's not an either or, Dan, is it? Or at least we hope it's not an either or. I mean, this is a player.
We only know what the papers tell us.
Unfortunately, with Spurs, though, they tend to only buy 1 or 2 players in January. So it's going to be an either or, most likely.
We just don't. We only know what the papers tell us. We don't know the facts.
Well, this is the point. I had this. Brian and I did Cockle-doodle-doo. The Cockle-doodle-doo this morning. I mean, the one thing, I don't know whether we've got any money because I've lost track. Brian, going back to, if anyone was watching this morning, sorry, you're probably going to hear some stuff again. But the issue is there's a lot, whether there's smoke and mirrors going on. Are we telling people we've got no money, that the Harry Kane money's already been spent, in order to deter anybody saying, well, you've got the Harry Kane money, so the player that we wanted 25 million for is now 40 million, whereas we're saying, well, we actually spent the Harry Kane money, we spent it on Brennan Johnson, we spent it on Vicario, we spent it on Van der Ven, we spent it on Maddison. Oh, and by the way, we also had to spend it on Kulusevski and Porro, all of whom were, so that was £200 million we actually spent last summer, even though some of that must have been in budgets for previous years or previous windows. I've actually got no idea where we are in net terms over the last 18 months, 2 years, plus the board said there was going to be a drawdown. Let me finish that down. There was going to be a drawdown on 150 million. And I don't know how much, if any of that has actually been spent. But so I'm sure they know the weaknesses. And I also know that Postecoglou is an absolute master at getting the crap out of his club quite quickly, and he's had one window. I think 2 more windows there'll still be a massive turnover of players. We all know we need more defenders, and particularly if Romero is allowed to leave. But I mean, I think just answering the question, Tommy, about whether we should have Raphinha at the club, I think he would be an absolute wizard at Tottenham. He has everything that we require in terms of playing Ange ball. He has pace, he has power, he's direct, he scores goals. I said again on a previous stream.
Would you put him in your top in terms of position though? Would you put him in your top 3 priorities this January? Would you even put him in because I'm struggling to put him in my top 3 in terms of his position, right wing.
But then Kulusevski's done nothing this season.
Yeah. I mean, I'll shut up and let Haz speak. I don't think Kulusevski's right for Ange ball. I think he's too slow. He's too one-paced. He's too one-dimensional. He cuts inside every time because he's left-footed and has to, and that necessarily slows the game down. That's actually not how Ange plays. Ange will want players going direct, getting that ball to the front 3 much more quickly, and then the front 3 really attacking. That's how he plays, and we haven't really seen it yet. So okay. I think there's a bit to come in in an attacking sense.
Right, 3 points to what you said there. First one, we don't know we got the money. Again, we can only go by through what we see on the papers, and from what it said. That I've read on quite a few things, over the past 5 years, we've had the 3rd biggest income in sport. Not football, sport. And it was also made official. So there's the first answer. We do have money. Second thing is, if Levy was to come out, or whoever was to come out and say, right, we've got 200 million in the bank and we're going to spend it. Everyone sitting here would be telling me he's a dickhead. Because you just don't go and do that because now you've just made everything double the price. So that one doesn't bother me either. Now, the point with Kulusevski, I'm 50-50 with the player. I'll make you right on everything you've said. But if he didn't play his way, we'd be in even more trouble. Because one thing Porro still can't do is be a good defender. He's had more credit than maybe he deserves as a defender because he's been significantly better than he was, and he was fucking crap. Now he's just playing all right, but it looks bloody good to what he was playing. Kulusevski comes back and covers his ass quite a lot and then holds the ball to get it up there. The problem is with Kulusevski lately is when he's in the third half, it's like you said, he just steps to the left, he's readable like a book and seems a bit slow. He's actually quite a fast player. His acceleration is very slow. But if we just have Raphinha there, and then Pereiro's basically stuck back on his own, like we're having at the moment on the left, what we're seeing with Johnson up there. And, okay, Udogie can handle it and that, but Johnson, in the past games that I've seen him play, does not come back and help the left back. We'd definitely be in a bit of a situation, wouldn't we?
Yeah, I mean, let me just say, I'm making sure that the build up to this window and this window, I'm not jumping on every single transfer story like I normally do, going, oh my God, we're at it again. Oh my God.
It's the hope that kills you at the end of the
day.
day.
No, it's not even that. If you look, we have spent 4 years trying to replace Jan and Toby. We have the perfect partnership. Yes, we could talk about Romero being Rush or whatever. And then the first thing we're going to do at the chance is jump ship with Romero and go, yeah, we only took 4 years to get you perfect. We're now going to send you out. This is the biggest load of nonsense. Like JJ said, and I pointed at it. If this rumour is true, and we are after Raphinha, after Gavi's injury, Lo Celso has become back on their radar.
I've heard that.
So yeah. There's the comment. There's the link. If we're a shrewd business operation, they may want Lo Celso. We may want Raphinha. There you go. We are not getting rid of Romero. It'll be if we get rid of Romero. We've waited 4 years to get this, and then what? So then it's Van der Ven, Davies, Dyer, Emerson, and apparently if Dyer goes, we're waiting to get a bid and a replacement in. We already need a central defender before he even leaves the club. So if he goes, that's 2 central defenders we need. And then we're going to let Romero go. Nonsense.
I think it's
Romero is
insanity.
going nowhere.
I think it's insanity. I think it's insane.
He's going nowhere.
Even rumor. I think it's an insane rumor, but it's there. Everyone's seen it over the
Mate,
last few days.
Just let him go in January. It'd be
Two
crazy.
final things I'll say about this. If Conte had still been there, Romero would have wanted out. And Postecoglou has said time after time after time, the reason the defence is playing like this and they've built this unity up so quick is because Romero is the communicator, and Romero has been instrumental and he's made him a vice captain as well. There is not a chance he is going. Not a chance. It is the biggest clickbait rumour you're going to see out. Raphinha for Romero. Do me a favour.
One of the biggest, I think, the issues with Dan is, Dan's got an issue with Romero's liability thing. The crazy sending off against Chelsea. And he does get sent off in the big games. AC Milan last season, unneeded sending off. Man City last season, I think that was a good foul. He got second yellow on Grealish and he was heading to the box. I think that was a smart one. But against the big teams, there's a doubt in many people's mind. And we've lost him for 3 games now, Romero. Has that got something to do with it? Do you feel this rumour coming through? Because a lot of Spurs fans have turned. They've turned to Romero really quickly.
I'm in Dan.
Yet another sending off.
I'm in Dan ship with Romero. I've had enough, to be honest.
Crazy.
No, let me finish. I'm sorry. He has a history of doing this in Italy as well. Yeah. Let's go back to that. So it's been going on for years. I thought this season he changed, right? And then we get to the Chelsea game, and the guy is like a lunatic on the pitch. He got sent off before that, right, with a kick. And I'm like, what is this guy doing? I thought, given the vice captaincy to actually solve the problem ish. I thought this guy maybe is going into a proper leader. Maybe we might see someone set an example. But then he goes and does that.
So wait a minute. By that terminology, and by that, is Roy Keane a shit player? Is Roy Keane a liability?
That's a different time.
Is Patrick Vieira a liability? We can go through Roy Keane.
Different time.
It doesn't matter, mate. The man
also, if you want to know, I'm not a stats person yet, Ryan, but Romero, since he's joined, has the most red cards of any player in the Premier League.
Listen, mate. Okay, yeah, listen, we all know he has got that tendency in him. That I don't dispute. But do you reckon Man U fans said after he got a stupid red card and he missed certain games, when he made that stupid tackle on Haaland's dad, they all said, what a liability, get rid of him. He cost it.
What do you mean?
Okay, no, I get where you're coming from, but let me make a different point to you then, Brian. I think he's a great player, don't get me wrong, but he is a liability. You don't know when he's going to lose it. And we was all bigging him up thinking that he's got the thing.
Is Roy Keane a liability?
Let me get my point. And okay, so we've all bigged him up and he's just basically proved that he's still got it in him. So what would you say that in an FA Cup final that we're 1-0 up, looks like we're cruising, he goes and does the most dickhead thing out there and gets sent off, which we all know he's more than capable of doing. And we can't say he wouldn't do it in that sort of game because he's gone and done it in the important games. And then we lose 2-1 and we lose our chance of getting our first cup in 16 years. Would you still have the same opinion?
So Dan, let me just throw one back at you. Let me throw one back at you with that. The season with Conte where we got Champions League, for ages and ages, we could not risk him getting a yellow card. Because if he picked up one yellow card, I think it was in about 4 games, he would have missed the Arsenal game and others. He would have got a 3-game ban. It would have, all right, it was ruled out because of injury in the end of it, but he went all those games knowing 1 yellow card, and you're missing the biggest game, and he didn't get it. He went clean. He went, listen, every player can act rash. Look at Steven Gerrard with a stomp on his last.
You still haven't answered my question.
But no, I'm saying, listen. Listen, I know Romero's got that. I know Romero's got that in him. If someone said to me, Romero would miss 8 games of the season in the Premier League because of suspension, let's just say 8, so it rounds up to a nice even round number 30. But in those 30 games, you get the Romero that we saw at the beginning of this season. Miss 8 games. Miss 8 games.
That's 8 games in the Premiership. I agree. What if he does that in an FA Cup final?
Listen, any player could do that in the FA Cup final.
Yeah, but it's more than likely Romero.
No,
that's what he's trying to say.
Any player on their day.
But Brian, if we're playing probabilities here, it's more than likely going to be Romero.
Mate, I'm not disputing that part. That part I don't dispute. But do I take the risk of him being rash? Is the risk of him being rash bigger than him having a great game? I don't think it is. If I had to say
When
in
it
this
can-
game, is Romero going to get a red card or have a blinder? 9 times out of 10, I'd say he's going to have a blinder.
When
But
you're
also,
scared of
Brian,
him
the problem is
playing,
we don't know when he's going to explode.
No, of course.
Like,
You can say that with any player. I get
know,
it.
but I'm
I
saying
get
if
it
he has
with
a
Romero.
tendency to do it, like we can't just say, "Oh, this game is going to be fine.
Mate,
this game is going to be."
he played the
do you
whole
know
of a
what I'm
World
trying to say?
Cup and won a World Cup and stayed clean. Look at that game when it was 3-3. The best World Cup final ever, in my opinion. That one. That game was going mad. Did he make any rash challenges where he could have gone down to 10 men and cost his country the World Cup? His country.
okay.
And
We
imagine
was in
how
the
Argentina
Champions
would
League
have
game,
reacted.
Brian. We was in the Champions League game. We was only 1-0 down, and we probably still wouldn't have done it because we was doing
mate,
it Conte way.
game.
But we could have still more than took it to them, only being 1-0 down, where 1-0 where away goals don't matter, and he goes and does the fella at the halfway line.
Yeah, no.
That's a liability.
Again, Dan.
And because he's done it so many times, he's more of a liability than even Eric Dyer going out there and doing
I think that's the key. It's the amount of times. It's the amount of times he's done it. It's the amount of time
he's done it. But I'll also say, listen, what he did against Milan was ridiculous. I am completely with you on that. But also, what was ridiculous with that is when you take him off, and then you have a manager that takes off a striker and puts on a defender to cover that.
True.
So
That's true. I'm agreeing with you on that one.
If that had been Postecoglou in the Champions League last year, Romero got sent off, he probably still would have gone for it and gone for another strike. He would have gone more advanced. So I know.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, Dan. What you're actually saying about Romero being rash, completely right on that. Completely with you. I don't disagree with you or that he has this in him. That part I don't disagree with at all. He has got that in him, but I just think he offers us. Like I said, I have with him more faith that he's going to have a blinder than he's going to be rash, but completely understand.
It was going so well. The biggest issue I had Chelsea, I thought it was quite a harsh sending off, to be honest with you. I can see why. I've seen those decisions given for other clubs, not just Spurs. The problem was the initial foul. I was at the stadium, I missed the initial one, the David Beckham, Simeone type flipping the leg.
Excellent.
That is a problem because that is a complete lack of discipline. So same with Udogie to a certain extent. Udogie should have been sent off before he got sent off. That missile drop kick, and then still got sent off after. That is me and Brian watch wrestling, so we know about the missile drop kicks.
We do indeed.
So it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. Udogie, he's a very young boy, very very young player, and he relies on his aggressiveness to a certain extent. But it was so disappointing because the first 5 games of this season didn't pick up a single yellow card. We thought this is a new Romero. Him covering for the even more attacking, even more aggressive Van der Ven is working perfectly. Vice captain, everything seems to be going forward, and then just completely loses his head twice in one game. And it's not just one game; it's 3 games. We're going to lose him for Villa, second of his 3rd match suspension, and then Man City as well. It's not his fault the lack of quality that he has behind him, though. I think it makes it worse because look who we have coming in. It's Eric Dyer or Ben Davies, and that is not his fault. But the same is 4 or 5 sending offs now. It's such a 50-50. But one thing is for sure. We cannot be swapping him for a right winger. It's ludicrous.
No.
That is absolutely ludicrous. But yeah, they haven't got money, Barcelona. Barcelona haven't had money for a while. But I tell you what, we're talking about Raphinha. But there's another player available at Barcelona. While we're on the transfer stuff, we're going to move on after this. Kessie. You know, Brian mentioned Lo Celso. They want Lo Celso, but Kessie in centre midfield. Just in general, Dan, do you feel like we might need a centre midfielder this January? We've got Bentancur's just recovered from a long-term injury. We've got Bissouma and Sarr midway through January, going away for possibly a month to the African Cup of Nations. Do you think centre mid is up there in priorities this January?
As long as we do it as attacking playmate, as long as we do it as more of a playmaker sort of thing, then centre mid. Centre mid. I don't think we have a problem because I still don't think that Højbjerg is as bad as people say. I think he's good enough to be a squad player until the end of the season to cover a game or two when we need him to. A game that he might have to. Bentancur coming back. He's looked pretty good since he's been on the pitch and that. And by the look of it, he's going to get up to round about the same sort of stability that he had and the same sort of quality he has. So we've got cover there coming in. And the place we seem to have nothing is as soon as Maddison's out the window, we've got no one who can create anything. Now, we've all come up with what we can do to deal with the situation as such, like possibilities. Like my one is stick Kulusevski in the middle because he worked at Juventus playing alongside Ronaldo doing that and alongside Chiesa doing that a couple of times. He even played as striker while Ronaldo was out on the right. But we don't have no option of a playmaker apart from ifs, buts and maybes. Maybe this could work, maybe that could work. We have not got no one that we can sit there and say that will work. Not the same quality as Maddison, but he will create things. Lo Celso, no, not at all. He just does. He hasn't done it at Spurs. He hasn't done nothing to prove me. Oh, sorry, he had a good shot that the keeper saved. I forgot about that. Well done. I'll give him a Blue Peter fucking badge for it. But apart from that, we need defence, and that is where we need our backup, and we need a playmaker. On the wings, I think we've got enough coverment. We've got enough things we can cover on there. In the middle, I think we got enough backup there. So for me, we need a playmaker, and of all, we need at least one defender, at least one, preferably two.
So a centre mid wouldn't be on an actual flat centre mid because Basuma and Sarr are going.
If they was going to play him as a playmaker sort of thing, what do we do? Do we play a 4-3-3 with a defensive midfielder? Or do we do a 4-3-3 with or 4-2-3-1? It seems to go. It changes as the game plays.
And we're going to talk about that in detail later.
We haven't
Aston Villa coming up. We've got a decision to make.
Exactly. If we haven't got that playmaker, whether he plays at the centre and goes forward or he stays as a number 10 position and that, where are we going to create anything? Because where our defence is that fucked, we've sort of got to have it's almost like we've got to have the attitude of you score 3, we score 4. Because it's all good stopping goals going in, but if you don't score goals, you don't win games. So we need someone who can set it up because we haven't got Harry Kane who can set himself up anymore. Son can't do that job. He needs someone to put it on a plate for him to then get it up front and put it in there. We haven't got no one in the middle who can create anything really special or any good.
We saw it against Wolves. Son is going to have to try to do the Kane job and come back into the hole and be the creator. And I don't think Son's got that passing range. We saw it against
Son. He's not good enough for that.
More against the bigger teams as well. It's trouble in next 4 games, upcoming games, that's for sure. I want to get through the chat a little bit. We've got Mark Cousins. Big up, my friend. Can we just celebrate? We got Pink coming to this. I wasn't aware of this.
Yeah, it was announced today.
To say she's past it is an understatement, but there you go.
Wait, don't speak about Pink like that. I won't tolerate it. I will not accept it or tolerate it.
I'm sure it'll bring in the money. I'm not sure that it will go straight back into the squad, like Levy claimed in that documentary. But yes, I suppose there's some
looking at it like this, Tom.
Fanboys and fangirls out there.
Tom, looking
also,
at it like
Tommy,
this.
why do people presume we would get the Raphinha from Leeds version? Why on earth would Barca sell him if he was doing the business? Brazilian wingers in the PL have mostly flopped. But the Brazilian players at Spurs, shocking. We have a shocking track record with Brazilian players. Gomez was probably our best one. You could argue that Emerson may be our best one.
Do you remember Gilberto, that left back? He was.
I don't need therapy again, mate. I don't need therapy.
Thiago's
He's one of the worst left back I've ever seen. I'm not going to lie.
Thiago's got a Brazilian podcast. As I said, everyone knows who Thiago is. And he had Gomez go on one of his shows, and he had Gilberto go on one of his shows as well, which is crazy. Which is crazy, yeah, man. Where was we? What was the one up? Also, this one, I looked up his stats this season, Raphinha, and 9 games for Barcelona, 23% he started. So I'm gathering 2 games. He started 2 of those games. Do we swap a 70, 80 million pound centre back for someone that started 2 games for Barcelona that they clearly do not want? No, it doesn't make much sense to me. I'm a big fan of him, Brian. I'm a big fan of him. I can't remember. I think Brian said how much he loved Raphinha.
I'm a big fan of it as well. But this is the thing we're doing again. We need a central defender. Period. We've seen just how badly we've been screwed with the 2 out for injury and suspension. We need another left back because 100%. Without Destiny, we're shuffling the deck. We need a midfielder, in my opinion, and we need a striker, a winger. When people say we're short on wingers, you got whether you think they're good enough or not. The deck is stacked. You have Solomon. You have You have Johnson. You've got Kulusevski. You've got Brian Hill. There are players. Whether you think they are good enough or not is down to interpretation.
Solomon will be back soon.
Exactly. But what I'm trying to get is, if you look at, if Vicario gets injured, we're screwed. There's no replacement. If we've seen with Van der Ven and Romero, the backup is shocking. We've seen with Destiny, well, there is no backup. It's let's put a right back at left back or move a left back in. And like Dan said, if Maddison's out, we're screwed. Wingers, we have more than enough to get us through to at least the summer. Though, to me, anyway, a winger isn't even a priority. Like you said, Tommy, it's not even on my top 4, let alone your top 3.
I'm everything you just said there, Brian. For me, you hit the nail on the head. But a lot of people in the chat and a lot of people in general social media saying we need wingers, we need wingers, we need wingers. Put a lot of money into wingers in the summer. If there was one position, I'd say we're over. We've got too many players. It was the winger. Now, okay, Perisic got his year-long injury. We'll probably never see him in a Spurs shirt again. Brian Gill, well, he's back from surgery. He's not getting any game time, but he's there. So I don't know. Ange fancied him. Levy thought he was good enough for the season. And Solomon's back shortly. We've got a lot of wingers. We have got a lot. And I actually rate Kulusevski. I do rate Kulusevski. He's not the quickest, but I think recently, last 2 or 3 games, he's certainly been one of our better players. Without a doubt. He's been one of our better players the last 3 games specifically. I think it would be great if he had someone, a rotation option. I guess Johnson was supposed to be that option, but he's having to play up top because we don't have a striker. He's having to play on the left wing because we don't have a left winger. Son was a left winger, now he's playing striker. So it's just, we need to, if anything, we need to find out how, if we can clone players. If we can clone players this January, it'll be fine. It'll be fine, but without it, I'm not sure. It is a little bit here and there, as Brian says. Has finally, we're gonna have a little bit. We're gonna let attention simmer. We're gonna let it go down for a little bit. We've got a bit of fun in the next segment, but has finally, in terms of priorities, who would you say the top 3 priority positions? Everyone says centre back first of all. Centre mid, Cam.
I'm going centre back, left back, and then like a playmaker-ish player.
I can go with that.
Left back. See, I haven't heard left back in the top 3. So that's, we've got Sessegnon coming back.
Oh,
good. Forget Sessegnon.
Good. Well, let's have a whip round and have a bet on how quick it is till he's back on the injury table.
Yeah.
There's no fault of his own. Listen, it's just not working.
I don't know. He might be strong. He might be stronger with his metal hips. You know, who knows? You
can't rely on Sessegnon, unfortunately. As much as I was excited by the signing when we got him and everything, it's been shown through no fault of his own. He is an injury concern every single time.
Most of the fans I speak to, though, say that he was better on the left wing than that left back. So I'm not saying he's going to be our left wing solution, by the way. I'm just saying this is what.
Oh, he was signed as a left winger. I used to go to
Craven. No, we played him at left back from like the beginning.
He was a left winger. He scored 15 goals in the first season. They got promoted like 5 years ago. 15 goals. He was never ever a left back. Not in a million years.
Yeah.
I know, but we were playing him there, so that's what I'm trying to say. Basically.
Right, Ian, I want to bring you in here because we haven't been in the same stream for a long time. You mentioned Romero. You put Romero in the chat. I just want. What are your overriding thoughts on Romero? Forget the swap deal. This, liability. Can we trust him?
I've listened to what the other guys have been saying, and I see what people are saying in the chat. Broadmoor's not really the right place, but people should have their heads examined if they want to get rid of Romero. The issue with Romero is we all know how talented he is, but I can tell you what, I've never seen a player win a match from sitting in the stand, and he sits in the stand far more than he should, and that we can really afford. I'd probably not get rid of him yet, if I'm honest. I certainly probably wouldn't get rid of him in the winter. I think we'd need to have proper replacements lined up, because I think we do need 2 central defenders. So I wouldn't, but there does come a point where how many times do you drink at the last chance saloon before somebody shows you the exit door? He is
Ian, according to Eric Dyer, about 10 years. is how long he's been in the last afternoon. So
yeah, well,
yeah, but he's got a master's in Rosetta Stone, so he's right.
Dyer and Davis in the same transfer window.
I mean,
still here.
we do have a lot of players, but in certain positions, I'd like to see if Sessegnon's fit, because he hasn't been fit ever for us for any length of time. He's not a left back, he's not a wing back. But, with the Solomon injured, with Perisic injured on that left-hand side, it would be interesting if he came back and showed he could do something, because he can score goals, he can make goals. And if he's not, he'll have to go. As I say, I've been saying this on streams. There will be a lot of, we talk about players coming in or there's no money. There will be a lot of players leaving the club, a lot. We've only just started to see. So Dyer will go. I suspect Davis will go. Lo Celso will go. Who else? I think Højbjerg. I know people say about Højbjerg, but I don't think Højbjerg's, and I never have thought he was an Ange player. So I think he will go. So that's 4. Then you've got Gil. Will he survive? Maybe, maybe not. Sessegnon. So you're going to have 6, 7. Perisic will leave. He's come to the end of his contract. So I can see there's going to be 6, 7 players going to be out the door, at least between now and the summer. And they will be replaced. And they will, I think, be replaced by better quality players. 2 central defenders, maybe another left back, another goalkeeper, because I don't think we've got any goalkeeper backup. Forster's been a great player and a great goalkeeper over the years. But the reality is he's not getting any younger. And I wouldn't want to see, I certainly wouldn't want to see him given a long run again, as we had last year when so if Lo Celso goes and Højbjerg goes, they'll need like for like replacements there. Brian and I a year ago were talking about Ollie Skip a lot, and we're both big fans of Ollie Skip. But I've got to be honest, he's not developing. He's certainly not developing the way I wanted to see him develop as a real box-to-box midfielder. He's, I'm afraid there's more winks in him than Paul Scholes, which is the kind of player I thought he was going to, he might develop into. So, there's going to be a lot of changes. Going to be a lot of changes in the club over the next 6, 7 months. So what we bring in is going to depend, and it will always have to depend on the ones we can get rid of, and the ones we can get rid of at a decent price. I mean, for example, I think we're going to have to rip up Ndombele's contract. I mean, what a fucking waste of money that was. I don't usually swear when I'm on. But I'm sorry, Danny said something there.
Yeah,
but, I need to have a read of that talk.
The myth that this guy exists, he's there. He's here. He's there.
Danny loves Raphinha, by the way. If you guys don't remember.
Oh, big time. Danny is like his number. Danny is his number one.
When
like
he was
I think you're talking about Ndombele, yeah.
When he was in the league, Raphinha and Saint Maximin are the most fun players to watch. Their skill, the flair is incredible. So I was a big fan of Raphinha. But when he moved to Barcelona, we had that brilliant 6 months from Kulusevski. So he wasn't even an option in my mind. And if Barcelona come calling, then what can you do? One more thing, somebody said, what if Romero did want to go to Barcelona? He's a Barcelona fan growing up. And even if he wasn't, if you get the chance to play in La Liga for one of the greatest clubs in the history of football, then you're going to go. So if he gets the option, he most certainly will go. I'm not sure. I'm not sure it will happen in the next 18 months, let alone the summer. To be honest with you, so it cannot happen in the winter. It just cannot happen in the winter. It'd be insane. Maybe we'll get Longley back, because Longley can't get a game for Villa. Because Longley cannot get a game. We diss Conte a lot, right? I don't get it. The only centre-back he plays with a 3 centre-back system. The only centre-back we signed was Longley on loan. The guy's going to get his loan deal cut at Villa because he hasn't started a single game. Let's get him in. Let's not. Let's sell Romero and get Longley in.
No, let's not. I'd rather play Dyer with a broken leg than Clement Longley.
For me, we need backup in every position. The only kind of depth we do have, I would say, is in centre midfield. But it's, with Sarr, Bissouma and Bentancur just back from injury, it'd be worth looking into someone like a Calvin Phillips on loan for 6 months, Kessie on loan for 6 months, optional fees perhaps. Because
Kessie,
I know,
isn't he in Arab now? I think Barcelona got rid of him, didn't they?
Kessie.
Yeah, the one who was at AC Milan.
I thought he was still playing for them. I thought Kessie was still in the squad. Maybe something I've missed. Something I've missed. I'll tell you what, on Thursday shows, on my solo streams, I'll go heavy into the transfer side of things, and we'll look at all this. We'll look at this debacle, which is the Spurs depth right now. And as I said, every position the depth is just nowhere near good enough. Every position, other than centre mid, I'd say. But I still would, just for 6 months, maybe look at Calvin Phillips or something. I know we are not getting another Cam. We need a Cam. We're not getting another Cam. 100%. You get one centre back in 4 years. You're not getting 2 Cams in 2 windows. It's not happening. Right. So a little bit of fun now. Before we do get into it, we're hitting the hour mark on the show today. We've got 38 people watching, only 25 likes. Please smash a like if you haven't already done so. Plenty in the chat. If you're in the chat and not liking, what's wrong with you? It's free. It's 1 click away.
Kessie ain't even at Barcelona.
Look at this beautiful panel. And of course, subscribe as well. We're on the road to 3K. Right, as I said, a bit of fun now. I call this, I seem to have this on like once a year. I call this true or false. True or false.
I haven't.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't played a game. I haven't played a game on your channel for ages. There's always anarchy here. Here we go. Go.
Okay. We'll start with. I'll just go around. I'll go around the mill. You can give true or false to all of these things I'm going to put forward. First of all, former Spurs target. Now this is depressing that he was a former Spurs target 2 seasons running. That's not the basis of this question. But Kim Min-jae's rice cooker got stolen when he moved house to Munich in the summer. True or false? Dan.
I ain't got a clue, mate. Seriously, I've not got a clue.
Life depends on it. True or false?
Oh, well, sort of like flick a coin, isn't it? Go on, I'll go with true. I haven't got a clue, mate, on this one.
Ian, Min-jae, rice cooker stolen in Munich.
Could you make that up? True.
True. Could be another food instrument.
I'm saying it's true.
I think this is well too on the nose. That's like me saying my chicken soup machine. I don't even know if a chicken soup machine exists, but it would be saying like my chicken soup machine had been gone missing. Yeah, no, it's false.
I think it's true. I'm going true.
3 trues. 3 trues and a false. I know the answer. Here it is. The South Korean international signed for Bayern from Napoli in July. According to Bill, the rice cooker stolen from outside his new house when he was moving in. Kim had placed the rice cooker just outside his house. So he brought in another box, but when he returned, the rice cooker had been taken. However, Kim's advisor, De Jong, bought him underneath the rolling banner a new rice cooker. The reason people thought this was false is because they thought it was like a racist troll saying this because, South Korea.
Can I just say, we talk about bad journalism days and slow journalism days when there's really bad transfer rumours and whatever. Oh, you got nothing better to write. This is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen written about a football player.
Right. Next up, Brian. Katie Price. True or false?
False. Everything about her is false. Breasts, lips, everything false. Katie Price. False.
Has true or false?
False.
False, right? It's 2 falses. Ian.
False.
That's some job. That's her latest surgery. That's some job.
That looks like.
She looks like the Wizard of Oz, the lion. Have you seen the lion from Wizard of Oz?
Yeah.
You know what? If there's a Spurs player, I can see a bit of Chris Waddle there. Look at the hair.
Mate, there's probably that comment.
I can see a bit of Chris Waddle.
Oh dear. What isn't it that the lion had? The lion didn't have any courage. Yeah. Well, is this? You're asking me if this is Jordan?
Yeah. Katie Price.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Looking at those lips and the breast area, that is definitely Jordan.
Dan, have you bumped into a few of them in the nightclubs back in the day?
He's on mute. Daniel on mute.
Sorry. The way I look at it with Katie Price is she's one of those ones that, you know, it's a bit rough and ragged around the edges, but they say beggars can't be choosers. Well, sorry, mate, I'm a chooser and I wouldn't choose that from a barge pole. That is rough and ragged. And she's just trying to make herself built up and everything, that so it won't just be that beggars go for her, choosers go for her. I still ain't going for it. It wouldn't surprise me if that's true, that's her, because she's plastic anyway. So,
well, mate, do you know what? I'll tell you now. Showing my area where I lived, if anyone who lived around my area in North London around a certain period and heard of a nightclub called Eros,
I've heard of it, but I wasn't.
So she actually was there one night because this is when she was going out with the guy from Another Level, Dane Bowers.
Yeah.
People remember that. Yeah. And this is before all her surgery, all the Dwight York and all the millions of men she's had and divorces. And I got to, she was actually a really nice girl. I'm not talking, look, I'm talking about person and everything.
Really?
She was, honestly, she was as down to earth as they come. She was a really, really nice girl. And then God knows what happened. She must have just woke up one day and thought, fuck this. And literally did to every single man on the planet. But yeah, she was a really nice woman. And then God knows what went wrong.
Brian,
James, I haven't said today.
I'll bring you back a few years further than that, yeah? If you grew up in my area in southeast London and that, yeah? When she was young, like quite young, she went to a place called Zen's in Dartford. Don't know how many people have heard of that. She ain't changed one bit.
She was like, she was proper down to earth.
Oh yeah, fair play to her, but doesn't mean you can be down to earth as you want. Doesn't mean you like, but it doesn't mean you don't throw it about and that. And yeah, she did. She does.
Oh no, I saw her another night a few years later, and I'm not telling that story offline because I'll get sued. I will literally get sued, so I'm not going into that. Yeah,
we'll have to wait for Brian Daigle's memoirs for that.
Guess what I'm dedicating my memoirs to.
Kessie is playing for Tony Rodriguez. Big up, my friend, and just a harmless potato confirmed that he is in Saudi Arabia. I lost track of the amount of players that just gone to South America, gone to.
I mean, Mitrovic went there.
It's only 12
million,
million,
isn't it? It's the second.
It's
SPL.
only 12 mil he went for. Only 12 mil.
I thought it was a lot.
When he was at AC Milan, he was quality when he was at AC Milan.
You talk about box to box. They don't get more box to box than him. His five.
He was brilliant at AC.
Like Dembele. Remind me of Dembele when he comes out of the ball in defensive mid. It's the closest I've seen to Dembele. Big boy.
I haven't watched him, so I can't really judge. I haven't seen him play. So.
Yeah, sorry, someone picked up this in the chat about Ashley Phillips.
Yeah, I saw that earlier.
A few hours ago, yeah.
What happened?
He went off in an injury.
He's got injured with England under 19s.
Okay.
Just because, you know what, the chance we had of him maybe starting against Villa ahead of Dyer or Davies,
it's gone.
That's gone.
I'm going to talk about
other player was the choice.
We're going to talk about
Dorrington. Do you mean Dorrington?
Yeah, Dorrington. I thought he was a pick above Phillips, basically. I mean, you look at the way he's been playing and everything in the under 21s or whatever. I would have thought he's a choice above Phillips because Phillips has only got about 7 games to his name, isn't he?
In the chat,
7, 9, something like that.
He's the biggest comparison to Van der Ven, which is what we would have needed with Ollie and Watkins' pace and everything, and Diaby. He would have been the preferred player of choice for me personally.
I get your point.
Damn right, mate. Damn right, James. That was a banging club. Banging club.
From what people who watch the youth tell me, Dorrington's been playing better than Phillips. That's what I keep getting told.
He's playing more.
That's
He's
what
played
I've heard.
Pretty much every game this season, Dorrington, where Phillips is coming in and out. I'm just
going by
if
what
Ange's
tell
got
me.
A possibility, if he's got a decision to make.
But you can look at it the other way as well. Ashley Phillips has been on the bench 3 or 4 times. Dorrington hasn't. So would he be choosing Phillips if he thought Dorrington? Not saying that. Listen, the great thing is that they're playing together both at club level and international level. There will be a partnership formed there, and hopefully,
He had the opportunity to play either of them against Wolves, and he didn't. He played Darren Davis. So that opportunity was there. That opportunity will be there for the next 2 games at least, because Romero's out for another 2 games. VDV, God knows how long.
I'd rather like Brian at centre half instead of Dyer, to be honest.
This is a good one. So we've got 2 true or falses left.
But wait a minute, was that Jordan? You didn't tell us. Was that Jordan?
It was Jordan. Yeah, I said Katie Price at the start. I said Katie Price at the start. But yeah, it's false. We were all correct. Definitely false. Right, Stephen Ireland. Remember Stephen Ireland? Man City centre mid, went to Villa, killed his grandma to avoid playing for Ireland. True or false?
Listen, I know Ireland are bad at the moment, but that's that's a bridge too far.
He killed his grandma to avoid playing for Ireland.
Isn't he? Is he in jail? I'm trying to think if he's in jail. I've seen him for like 20 years.
If he got found guilty, I'd imagine so. But,
I find this hard to believe. This has to be false.
Can't be true. Even if he killed his granny, it wouldn't stop a playing because it's birth. They don't have to still be alive, do they?
Days, you know, so money these days.
Do you mean he himself, or he got someone to pay to do it? That's the
one. That's Stephen Ireland killed his grandma to avoid playing for Ireland. I'm not going into it any more than that.
I tell you, are you the only witness, and are now grassing him up?
Now you know what. The answer I'd give to that, if it was Scotland, I'd believe him. But Ireland, there's nothing wrong with Ireland. So, no, that's got to be negative.
No,
but if it was Scotland, I'd believe it.
Oh, don't say that to Ian. Don't say that to Ian.
No, careful. Absolutely. Jermaine Defoe killed Stephen Ireland's grandmother no.
And now it's been brought up again in court.
Crazy. I'm just trying to find news of this Phillips thing if he's badly injured.
So, Ian, you're saying false?
False, absolutely, 1,000,000%.
Killing his grandma, false. Everyone's going false. It is false. This is the story. There is a story on this. Irish international Stephen Ireland said his grandma had died in order to avoid playing for his country so he could visit his girlfriend instead in 2007. Ireland admitted he made up a reason to be excused from the Republic of Ireland's 1-0 defeat in Czech Republic in 2007 in order to visit his lonely girlfriend in Cork. So he didn't kill her. But
so you read that stuff. So what I'm interpreting here is you thought about this crazy game you wanted to play. You saw this story that he made up that her grandma.
I thought I'm doing true or false tonight. I thought I'm doing true or false tonight. How can I put this into a true or false?
Yeah, you jumped from grandma passing away to Stephen Ireland murdered his grandma. That's the leap you made.
Killed his grandma, but that's more in a metaphoric.
He said that she died.
It's in a more metaphoric sense, isn't it? He killed her metaphorically to say he's getting out of a game.
I missed your game,
but she did die in 2013, and he confirmed that on Soccer AM. So rest in peace, Stephen Ireland's nan.
So he told this story on Soccer AM.
Yeah, he did apparently. Yeah, that
was
this story. Finally. Okay, Dan, there's a rumour going around. Mikel Arteta, there's a rumour going around that he isn't fully human. Dan, true or false?
It's got to be true. I mean, come on. Even just the way he fires up for no reason, you'd think he's something out of the X-Men or something, wouldn't you? I mean, his head's always steaming. When you look at him, serious point. When you actually look at him, you actually see his head steaming when they do a close up to him. Yeah, I reckon he's something out of, X-Men, Avengers, whatever fashion everyone's into.
Men in Black.
He's a freak. Men in Black, whatever. He's a freak. He's not human. He's a freak.
Ian, Homo sapien, Arteta. He's not full Homo sapien, true or false?
True.
Okay.
True. That's good, true.
Haz is 2-0. 2-0 true. Haz?
False.
False. You don't get points for this, by the way.
I know, I'm just
Well, Mark Cousins has just taken, and so has James Flower, just taken exactly what I was going to say. He's part man, part Lego. So I don't know if you could.
Thunderbirds is a brilliant one.
Although
wait for this.
I'd love.
True. His dad was Lego, which makes him half Lego. This is his dad. Michael Senior, Mikel Senior. Lego.
I was waiting for you to read the story. I was waiting for you to read the story and see how you jump.
I wish. Right, okay, we're coming towards the end of the show. We always have Muppet of the Week. That'll be the final segment as usual today. But first up, as I said, it's been a long international break. We've got heavy fixtures coming up. I don't want to know the entire team. Everyone say on the entire team we're going to put out against Villa. We haven't got much of a team to discuss of putting out in the first place. But in centre mid specifically, Dan, who would you go with? So there's still no Maddison. Hotspur came in against Wolves in a flat 3. We now have Bissouma suspended too. No Maddison, no Bissouma. You say our 2 best players so far this season. How would you set up? Personally, how would you set up in centre midfield? Sunday, 2 p.m. Aston Villa.
Well, that's the thing. Centre midfield, I wouldn't be having 3. So centre midfield, I'd go for Hotspur and Bentancur and then play Kulusevski as my attacking midfielder just in front of them. I'd stick Porro up on the right and give Emerson a go on the bottom right. So, but if I was to stick 3 in the middle, then it's obviously Bentancur, Hotspur and Sarr. I don't really see we have any other option there because Skip is just crap. He only ever looked good at Norwich, and that's just telling you something.
Dan, can I just add to that at the moment? With what you've just said, there is doubts Destiny will be fit.
Yeah,
so
there are a few.
If you move Porro up and put Emerson right, who are you putting left?
You can't put Davies because he's going to be playing
Where's
centre
this
back.
come from? I didn't even know. I thought he was fine.
No, we're seeing.
You know, that's where we're in that much of a situation. I'd stick Davis out on the left and bring in one of the young boys in for a centre-back next to Dyer. Yeah, we're going to concede 3, but at least if we've got a playmaker up there, we've got a chance of scoring 4 because we have got players who can score goals. So I would play the game, you score 3, we score 4, but it's sort of like you're fucked if we do and we're screwed if we don't sort of thing.
So, Ian, would you consider putting Lo Celso in for this game, starting Lo Celso?
Yeah, I would, but he's still got to come back from international duty. Yeah, I probably would. All other things being equal, I also worry about whether Bentancur's seriously fit to start a match of this magnitude, and he might want him if he is to get him fitter to play at Manchester City the following week. If Lo Celso's up for it, I would like to see Lo Celso play in that advanced role alongside Sarr and Hotspur. Going to need to be combative. Their midfield is probably their strength. But they could not bad up front either. But yeah, I would go the midfield. My midfield 3 would be Sarr, Hotspur, and Lo Celso. I don't think he'll tinker much up front. Johnson left, Kulusevski right, Son middle, which leaves you with a centre of defence. And if Phillips is crocked, I suspect he's going to go. Hopefully, Destiny will be fit. Destiny, I don't think he'll mess about either. Porro at right back, and might have to be the 2 numpties in the middle again. But that's the side I would expect.
Rumour has it Vicario might be injured as well.
No, he's got fever. He's
he just had some flu symptoms. I would expect him to be fit enough.
It's not thankfully with him. It's not.
I only have some Lemsip and he'll be all right.
Yeah. He's the sort of person that would, with half an arm missing, he would still, try and get on the pitch. Vicario. So has Ian saying, Benny might not be fit? I mean, surely he's been back for a month. Would you start?
I'm kind of with Ian
worried about his fitness.
I'm with Ian on this. I don't want to rush him back. So my midfield 3 would be Hotspur, Sarr, and Kulusevski.
You put Kulusevski in the Camero as well?
Yeah. I don't think we have any other choice at this point. He's clearly struggling on the right, so I'll put him in the middle and see how it goes. I don't think Lo Celso is going to be here any of the next season, so I'd rather give players who I think have more of a long-term future at this club a chance. Like, I'm not a big Kulusevski fan right now, but I think if he's going to work under Ange, he's going to have to be in the middle. He's not going to be on the right or the left. I think he's going to have to play in the middle. So you might as well just give it a go and see what happens. I'd also be tempted to try and change the formation to like a 4-4-2 or something. Just try something different, because if we don't have the creativity in Maddison, you're gonna have to change the style or something, or change something. Because
4-4-2. So 4-4-2. Who you put Son and up top?
Like Johnson, or even play. I even tend to play Kulusevski up front with Son.
He's played there for Juventus
Yeah.
when he had Ronaldo out on the right in, I think it was 2 or 3 Champions League games? I think it was 2. Because they were a bit limited. They played Ronaldo out on the right and Kulusevski as the striker. They've done that a couple of times as well. He has played in those positions.
No, I'm not Lo Celso's biggest fan, but I'd probably say do something like the 4 I would play would be Højbjerg, Sarr, Johnson, and Lo Celso on the left, and then you could always bring Bentancur on later on, and change it up maybe. But I just think we need to try something different. If the 4-3-3 is not working, and he's going to put the 3 out, which unfortunately I agree with Mario, it's very likely that he's going to just chuck Skip in there and play like a 3 of Højbjerg, Sarr, and Skip or something, which is ridiculous. I'd rather see something different, like a 4-4-2.
Brian, how would you go? Very divisive. Different answer from everyone.
First of all, knowing Ange as we have got to know, and I'm sure Ian is the one that will know him best, I do not see him playing the midfield that Haz was just referred to. He won't play Skip, Højbjerg, Sarr. There's no way he'll have some.
That's what Mario seemed adamant on.
Sorry, Mario. But
No. I'm just getting back to what he was saying.
There's no way. There's not a creative player or a player with.
But
some
you say that
creativity.
last game we played Højbjerg, Sarr, and who was it? The other one?
Basuma can be creative.
I don't count Basuma as a creative player.
No, he can. Mate, listen, he can be. He not like a Madison or whatever, but out of those 3, he is creative. With Bentancur, me and Ian spoke about this a lot this morning on Cockerel Doodle Doo. If it wasn't for Sarr and Basuma going, I would be up for him starting to start games and literally getting more minutes in. He's now travelled away with international. He's coming back. There is no need to rush him. Whatever way you look at it, even if it was Skip, Sarr, Højbjerg, or if it's Højbjerg, Bentancur, if it's Højbjerg, Sarr, Kulusevski, or Lo Celso, there are options where he does not need to start right now. Do I want to see him start playing 90 minutes in the build-up to Christmas? Yeah, I think it is way too soon when we don't need to rush him in. But I will say that this for me, just like a relegation 6-pointer, this is a top 4 6-pointer. Aston Villa are being wildly underestimated, in my opinion.
They're 1 point behind us. We were top of the table 2 weeks ago.
John McGinn is an incredible midfielder, severely underrated. I would go Højbjerg, Sarr, Lo Celso, but I would like to see if moving Kulusevski central. Not saying from the outright, because we saw what he did against Sheffield United. Right, in a brief time, he can play in that position. I think we get more out of Brennan Jensen on the right. But the question is the midfield 3, and I think it will be Sarr, Højbjerg, Lo Celso.
Right. See, I think Bentancur should be ready at this point. He's been back for a month. If he's 90% fit, I will play him as a cam. I think he could be perfect as a cam, either-footed like Ericsson. You won't take his toe as much fitness-wise if he's the cam. He doesn't have to get involved in centre midfield, let's say. So if it was a flat 3 centre midfield, I probably wouldn't play him if he went with the same formation against Wolves. Leave him up there behind Sonny. Either footed, I would risk Bentancur in this game. We can't go 3 games losing on the bounce. We just can't, because that could be 4, 5, 6. And after Villa, we got City. After City, we got West Ham, Derby. After West Ham, we got Newcastle. So big 4 games coming up. We need to get back. We need to get back to winning. We need to get that surge back. So I would even put. Do you know what? Everyone disses Skip. I think he's been injured for a year. He came back in at the end of last season. Things weren't going well under Mason, this, that, and the other. Skip and Sarr together were fantastic in 2 games. In a San Siro, he was magnificent. Skip and Sarr, they were. I would even consider Sarr and Bentancur. Højbjerg was shocking against Wolves. It's very, very difficult. It's very, very tricky. But with Madison and Basuma out, I would risk Bentancur in this game. I would.
Yeah. With what you said about Skip, that's like turning around and saying, yeah, but Winks was good against had an excellent game against Real Madrid.
No,
one game doesn't make up for 30.
So before he got injured, he was good. Skip, he was good, and 6 months before, he got promoted with Norwich. He was their best player, you know. So I think he got injured 6 months into his Spurs career. He played a little bit when he come back last season. Things were went crazy at the end of last season. It was ridiculous what was going on at the end of last season. I'm not saying Skip's a great player, but I just think we do a disservice to some players that hardly play. We hardly see them. There's a reason they hardly play at the same time, but I don't think he's as bad as people are saying. Pochettino said he's future captain. Jose said this is a future captain. I think there's something there.
Jose said he was a future captain playing Jose Mourinho football. I don't think he's an Ange Postecoglou type player. Like Ian said earlier, last season, me and Ian were waxing lyrical about him, but he's just not. Ian said the right word. He's not progressing. You saw against Brentford in Ange's debut. Sarr came in the next game against United and was everywhere. Ollie Skip left his defensive responsibilities and looking after the right back when Emerson went. So I just can't say, as much as I want Skip to do well, I really, really want him to do well. I'll be honest now. I think my boy Alfie Devine is leagues above him already. And he'll be coming back next year. I just can't see how he does it.
Yeah, I think his confidence is diminished, and maybe he should look for another club. But I don't think he's as bad as people are saying. I really don't think he's as bad as people are saying. Okay, now to the centre-back situation. No VDV, no Romero. Who's playing centre-back, Dan? You're the manager. You're in. You've got the board. You've got the lineup. We can safely say we're not going to play 3 centre-backs. We know what formation the back line's going to be. So who are the 2 centre-backs coming in?
Well, if you go by obvious, it's going to be Davis and Dyer. They're going to be there, whether we like it or not.
You don't think Ange's going to risk it? Dorrington, Phillips, you don't think he's going to risk it?
No, not if he didn't against Wolves. Then if he goes and does it with Villa, it'd look a bit what you try and do, mate. Whereas at Wolves, I think he had the perfect chance to do that and also get away with it if it went wrong. Will he do it with Villa? Villa are better than Wolves. And I don't think he will because Davis had a good game. And with Dyer, I think he's just going to stick with the experience there, even though the experience is just being crap. But I don't see him changing his mind. If he didn't do it for Wolves, I don't see him doing it for Villa unless he has no option.
Ian, Davis and Dyer, are they carrying on?
Yeah, I can't see any alternative at the moment. That's where we need to strengthen. But yep, we know that.
Has any other options? I mean, Emerson came in against Chelsea, a centre back. I actually thought Emerson was going to come in at centre back against Wolves. That was my prediction. But no, Davis and Dyer. Do you still think it'll be those 2?
I think it'll be those 2. I would play Dorrington personally ahead of Dyer, but that's just me.
Mr. Brian Daigle.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we keep going with Davis and Dyer, knowing what they're going to deliver as a partnership, and they don't work. So why don't we just try something different and go for Lloris and Foster? Why not? Only joking before it gets clipped and everything. I would, if Porro and Adoji is fit, I would play Davis and Emerson. You've got to remember, Ben Davies had a good game against Wolves.
Davies was probably our best player against
Wolves. He was man of the match.
Ben Davies comes in for a lot of shit that he's not good, and to a certain extent, he's right. We need fresh blood, but Ben Davies in that performance at central defence puts in a shift. Yes, he fell asleep for 2 goals, as did Dyer, whatever. But I would start Davies over Dyer every single time, no problem.
Yeah, and
I would start Emerson over Dyer, Dorrington over Dyer, my 3-year-old niece over Dyer.
David, do you think Ange wanted? This is a question. Do you think Ange wanted Dyer over Sanchez?
Who knows?
He started Sanchez in a Carabao Cup loss against.
Oh, fantastic! Fulham. David Clark's just said McGinn's got injured on international duty. That's massive for them.
Who?
John McGinn.
Oh, is he?
That's massive. That's
Tillemans comes in. They've got some backup there. You get Tillemans in. He's okay. He's not terrible.
He's not John McGinn. John McGinn, I think, is one of the most underrated midfielders.
Conte wanted him at Tottenham, John McGinn.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's right. He's a very good player. He is a very good player.
Tom, out of a question, I've just been having a chat with a fellow on the chat side never. That he said we're basically talking about Kulusevski. Says, I understand what you're saying. I mean, I think it'd work as as a cam. For me, we'll have less space as a cam. I don't know. Maybe it's just the way we see football or whatever, but I see you having more space as a cam than you do stuck on the right-hand side or stuck on the left-hand side. I see you having more options as a cam. You've got a wider option of the pitch to pass it at. I understand you're going to be stuck in by defenders, whatever, but when you're out on the right and you can only stick onto your left foot and you've got one player standing there and another player right there, I feel in the centre you have a lot more option and space than you do when you're stuck on the far right or left. What do you lot think of that?
Personally, with Kulusevski, I'm with James Flower here. I was looked at some of the messages he's put forward. He is very.
He's made some fair points.
He is very one-footed, which is a problem. I like my cams to be both-footed, quite small, low centre of gravity. In Kulu is none of those things. I know he has played there and he's done rather good in the Serie A, but that's Serie A. This is the Premier League. So it's worth having a trial. Why not have a trial if you have to? But I would much rather play a flat free centre midfield or try Bentancur there, maybe even Lo Celso.
Just an option.
But it's certainly worth an option. It's certainly an option, I'd say. And Dan, you said you'd go with it, and Has said he'd go with it. So half the panel said they'll go with Kulusevski in the cam. So everyone has a different.
I think it's because I think Lo Celso, in my opinion, doesn't have a long-term future here. So I'd rather play players like with Dyer as well. He's clearly on his way out at the end of the season. Play players who most likely, obviously, there's no guarantees yet, but more than likely we're going to be here in like a year's time. So at least they get given a proper go.
A number 10 doesn't need to be 2-footed either. That's just a privilege.
They don't have to be. They don't have to be.
No.
I want someone that's comfortable.
One thing I think he would do a very good job at is playing back to goal and holding the ball like he does on the right, where it shows we've had 3 players around him and they haven't been able to get him off the ball because he's quite a lump himself. And I think he'd do a very good job at holding the ball basically for the others to get round him, Son to get down past him, to turn it. Because he's got a good direct pass on him. He's shown that from the right-hand side a few times. That's why I'm saying just give this man a go in the middle. Because I do think in the middle you get more option. It doesn't matter whether you're left-footed or right-footed. Whereas on the wings, it definitely does.
Right. Now, look, just finally on the defensive side of things, I would bring Dorrington in because he's been playing week in, week out. But Daigle makes a good point. That could be because Phillips is on the bench, so he can't really play every game in the under-21s if you're putting him on the bench. I didn't actually think about that. That's a very good point. The fact that he's possibly carrying an injury would make it a no-brainer that you would bring Dorrington in. But I don't blame Ange at all. I really don't, because you've got that experience. I mean, Dyer's got nearly 50 caps for England, 300 games. I do not blame Ange for the lack of options he's got. And I do, to answer my own question, I do think he wanted Sanchez over Dyer. I mean, the proof is that he played him against Fulham 2 days later. He sold Sanchez and kept Dyer. I think there was a bid for Sanchez, £8 million. Levy should have said no. I'll keep Sanchez. I'll let Dyer rot in the reserves. I think Sanchez was more suitable for this Ange formation, if I'm perfectly honest. But that's not the case now.
I just want to add one more thing. Not about the defence. I just completely forgot as well when we're talking about the midfield / up front. I would love to see Jamie Donnelly get some minutes. Now, if you want to talk about a youth player that has come in and is absolutely bang on form and is absolutely tearing up the leagues, not saying he should start, but when we got this option, I've seen a lot of YouTube channels and social media, and everyone's saying, you look at it now at the moment, Manchester City bringing you through. If they're young enough, they're in. Forget who they're playing around. Arsenal recently, Nketiah, Saka, Emma Smith-Rowe. You look at all these other teams, they are bringing them through. Right now, we have a time where we do have these players, whether they're young enough, whether they're ready or whatever, is you look at it. If when we had Soldado and Adebayor or whatever, we whacked Harry Kane on. Not saying Donnelly's Harry Kane, but when we had a problem up front, we're like, let's stick this young kid on who's only been on 8 loans, and we know what happened. Not saying that that's going to happen again, but Jamie Donnelly is someone that I would love to see get some minutes, wherever it may be over Christmas. He deserves some minutes.
Yeah, he's ripping up trees. Everyone's talking about that boy. And it was Divine last season. As you know, he started well at Port Vale. I think there's a recall clause in Divine's contract.
No, there isn't.
There isn't. Oh, I heard that there was. If there was, it would be a no-brainer because he can play centre mid, he can play cam, and he can play up top. So with Maddison injured, he'd be perfect right now. But as Brian's confirmed, there's no recall clause.
The only way I believe that there might be one, is if a team from the Championship come in and go right, and they want to escalate his progression. It's not a break that he can come back to Tottenham. I think it's that he can go out on loan to a different team and progress. But yeah, I hope he stays at Port Vale for the whole season. He needs his minutes. He needs to get regular football, express himself how he does, and he's tearing it up. Who knows, mate? He could be in the semi-final of a Carabao Cup very soon.
Absolutely. Tony says Santiago, another name, doing the rounds in the under-21s. The under-21s has been magnificent, absolutely magnificent this season. So finally, Sunday, 2 p.m, we're back. We are fourth, Villa are fifth, 1 point between us. As Brian says, it's a 6-pointer basically. I don't think you can say 6-pointer at this stage of the season. That's more for the final run of games. But someone's going to be in the Champions League. Someone's going to be taken out if one of the teams wins. So predicted score for the game, Dan. We're at home.
It's just one. I don't see us winning this one, so I hope I'm going to go with 2-2. And that's more of a hope than anything.
I think with the injuries, many would take that. Ian?
Yeah.
Spurs Villa?
I'm not optimistic either, but 3-1 Spurs. I have to. I can't predict we're going to get beat. I just refuse.
Sure. If that's a negative attitude, I'm happy with it.
May not be.
Yeah. Tottenham 1, Villa 3.
Ouch.
So I'm going. I think it's going to be 2-1 Spurs. The only reason I'm saying Spurs is it's at home. If it was at Villa, Villa at home, I think they've won 12 Premier League games or 12 home fixtures in a row. They are on fire at Villa Park, absolute fire. And if like David said, John McGinn is out, their skipper, that's a big blow. That's a huge blow to them.
Brian, I just had a look, by the way, just sorry to cut across you.
Yeah.
The Birmingham News today is not suggesting that he's out. He's certainly got a knock, but they're still hoping he plays some part on Sunday.
Problem is, it's our defence up against like Diaby, Watkins. I don't think we're going to be able to cope.
Yeah.
With a depleted midfield, this McGinn news will be key. It could be the difference. And he's very good.
Our defence up against Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck is a problem, so it doesn't really matter either way, does it? Either way, we're up shit.
And they do have a very good front. Watkins and Diaby, they got a very good front line. Douglas Luiz in there.
Louise. And they have this bad away record. You know how it's like with Spurs, right? It will fix it. No.
Mind you, they have had a good spanking or two, Villa.
I can't see us winning even with home advantage. Emery has been magnificent since he's been at Villa. I think they had the best transfer window in the Premier League. Overall, I think they did. I think they were fantastic last summer. But look, our fans are still on side. So the home fixture will make a difference. Angie's name will still be sung. Unfortunately, VDV's and Romero's won't because they won't be there, which is a problem. I think they'll win 2-1. I think Villa will nick it. I would hope for 1-1, and I'll probably take 1-1, to be quite honest. And before you call me negative Nancy, I actually predict we'll get a draw against Man City. I've got a funny feeling we're going to nick a point at the Etihad. We seem to be their bogey team. So before you call me negative Nancy, I still think we get 4 or 5 points over the next 4 games. You remember last week, Dan Dietrich's was like 0 points. 0 points. So I'm not as negative.
We're playing West Ham at home, right? I think
we got West Ham at home.
I think we might win that game.
That's what I think. I think we'll beat West Ham. We'll draw against Man City. Newcastle have severe injuries, so we should get a point there. Really, but you never know.
We should definitely get some points out of this. I can definitely see that. But I'll go back to my old saying that everyone's heard in that when it comes to Man City, if we even try the attacking sort of thing, we're going to be walking off like John Wayne. And that's my old saying. And we do walk like that a lot at Spurs, and that's thanks to Levy. But if we go at them attacking it's with City and that, they're going to tear us a new one and we're going to feel it.
I hate to tell you, that's the only way Ange knows how to play. He will go for City.
I'm not that. I don't like that, Ian. I don't like that method of thinking. I think you need to adapt. As a manager, you need to adapt to a certain degree.
I'm not I'm just telling you, he will attack Manchester City.
Yeah, but I don't see that as a positive. I don't see that as
Yeah.
necessary. I think Chelsea done exactly the right thing, even with 2 men sent off. Attack. They still didn't score their second goal until the 74th minute. I thought that was the right thing to do against the bigger teams. I don't think you can go attack. I think you've got to take your medicine sometimes. And I think Ange's a stew. He's 57 years old. He's been here, there, and everywhere. I'd hope he'd adapt to a certain extent. You can't do that with Ben Davies and Dyer at the back against Man City.
Well,
you have
if
to
everyone was
to a degree.
if everyone was going on, and I'll say a majority of who I've spoke to, seen in chats, whatever, and that was going on about how Conte's problem was last season is he didn't adapt to what he's got. Now, he didn't have what he wanted as in players to play the way he wanted. So a quality manager then adapts to what he has got to work around it, to play in a way that will work until he's got what he wants and he can play the way he wants to play. Now, if Postecoglou is going to be a quality manager and everything, he has to adapt with what he's got. And that's not a lot at the moment. And for me, going all guns blazing at City is just, that's a death wish. But who knows?
Right, it's that time. We're ending the show. But before we do, it's time for Muppet of the Week. As always on these shows, I'll put a few candidates up. This week's Nigel Farage, Brexiteer. He's on I'm a Celebrity. I haven't watched it, but not too many are happy that he's even on there. Apparently the ratings have gone down, but then, you can't always trust the media in this country. Daniel Levy, exclusive member of Muppet of the Week. There hasn't been a week he's not been involved. So, Defoe deal doesn't look good, does it? The depth he's given Ange doesn't look good either. So I think he deserves a place this week. And this is a bloke who got a David Mitchell tattoo this week. And, I mean, what are you thinking? Great show, peep show, but, I mean... underwhelming. You go on a Tinder date and show that she's gone, man. She ain't sticking around. Like that is.
To be fair, it may be one of the weirdest tattoos and one of the weirdest people you'd want to get a tattoo of. But at least this guy's gone to a tattooist that has made it look. That's David Mitchell. You look at some tattoos where the guy went and got the Lacazette one. It looks like Darren Bent. Or the ones that get Chinese writing and it's the wrong one. That is a very good piece of artwork for David Mitchell.
Yeah, I mean the hairline's right as well. He needs to just take a leaf out of our book, Brian and Ian.
Yeah, I mean we're heavily tattooed people, you and me, Tommy, and we can appreciate the artwork, and that is some decent artwork.
Right, you can nominate your own, Dan. You don't have to choose one of the candidates. Muppet of the Week, any of these?
Well, I ain't going to go Nigel Farage. I actually quite like what the fella preaches half the time. I think he actually makes some solid points that people it's just the community we live in these days. He says it how it is a lot of the time, so I've got no problem with him. Levy's just Levy, innit? I mean, but that tattoo, all credit. Great tattoo, whatever turns you on at the end of the day. We're all different. We're all unique. That's what makes us human, we get told. But yeah, that tattoo is just the most I'll have on me is like my wife's name, and that's it. There, I ain't
imagine getting in a punch up and rolling up your sleeves, and you got David Mitchell on your forearm. Right?
You know what I'm saying?
Could be a ruse, mate. That could be the ruse. It's like when you see like those guys going hustle on basketball when they dress up as geeks, and then they turn out to be like these great sharks. That could be a guy that's in the army for all you know that loves Would I Lie to You or something.
And like you said about the punch up, Tom, it depends who he's having a fight with, doesn't it? There's going to be one fellow who has a fight with that just laughs at him and slaps him in the face. There's another one who's going to grab his arm and say, "Oh, I like that." You don't know who you're meeting, do you?
Right. It's getting quite political. I think it's hard not to get political when you've got this man in your first picture. Ian, Muppet of the Week, one of these, or have you got a candidate of your own?
No, I hate Farage, the acceptable face of fascism in Britain. No, wish he'd fuck off and leave us all alone. Hate him. No. Hate him with a passion.
Total opposite.
Brexit. No benefit from Brexit whatsoever.
Anyway, mate, it's football. Leave the political bit till.
All right. Okay. Farage, can he play centre half then?
Probably better than Dyer.
Right, that's fine. Okay, pick him, sign him up. He's a free agent. Sign him up. Play him on Sunday.
The David Mitchell tattoo is better than Dyer.
Farage and David Mitchell. Farage and David Mitchell at centre back. Let's do it.
The tattoo of David Mitchell is better than Dyer.
Farage and David Mitchell. If Vicario's injured, Levy can have a spelling goal. Perfect. Here's the free. Right.
I mean, if he was in goal, it would be the one and only time I would pitch him, mate.
Right. So it's 1-1. Mitchell and Farage. Brian, any of these three?
I'm going for a collective, but it is one. But it's none of these three. And David Clark's got it bang on the money. The officials for the England game yesterday: VAR, the linesman, and the dickhead ref. They come as a collective. How that was a penalty? How that was a penalty? Doesn't matter if it was England, if it had been the filth that I was watching. Never in a million years was that a penalty. 3.5 minutes to find out the offside. That, like me and Ian said, you could tell from the naked eye from the first block. That was an absolute disgrace. Like I said, I'm going for the collective officials of the England game yesterday.
Okay. Finally, Has.
I'm going with someone not on this list because I'm going to do it in advance because Eric Dyer.
I can't have Dyer and Levy as exclusive members because it only leaves one space. So,
yes, I'm going Eric Dyer this week.
Eric Dyer. So where are we? Everyone's on one. Everyone's on one. Do you know what? I'm going David Mitchell. Yeah, you can't be rolling with that. You can't be rolling with that tattoo. So David Mitchell this week is Muppet of the week.
Yeah, but surely David Mitchell isn't the Muppet of the week.
It's the tattoo.
The guy that got the tattoo.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the David Mitchell, the guy that got the David Mitchell tattoo. Yeah, of course. And he is my namesake, Tommy Mitchell, David Mitchell. Yeah, he's a good guy and very, very, very smart. And brilliant on that show. What is the show?
Would I Lie to You?
Peep Show? Do you mean Peep Show?
Would I Lie to You? Yeah, Peep Show as well, but Would I Lie to You?
The best shows.
The barge episode where they kill the dog on Peep Show is the greatest episode in sitcom history. If you haven't seen that, make sure you do. It's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Cracks me up thinking about it. Right, so we're going to wrap up the show there, people. Please, before you go, make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Me and Dan you can find on Hotspur Hood all the time. My next live show will be Thursday. We go through the transfers a little bit harder because it's just me. So make sure you subscribe and then you'll be notified of that and future shows. Ian, we can pretty much find you here, there and everywhere. You were with Daigle earlier as well, weren't you?
Just the streaming tarts. Wherever I get asked if I'm around, I'll do. I think I'm doing it. We're pre-recording a show for broadcast later in the year, aren't we? Christmas show, Brian, tomorrow afternoon. So, I'm off to Singapore and the Far East for a few days. So I won't be on much before Christmas, but nice. Hopefully we'll be back 5 points clear at the top of the league, and everybody will be happy again.
You're going in 3 days, or are you going 5 days? 3 days.
No, I'm going in. I'm going on Thursday to the 14th of December. So going to be away a little bit.
Oh, lucky man, lucky man. You're not going to. It's not a detour to Australia, no.
No, I'll go wave to Andrew.
Get some memorabilia, the beanie hat, and then fly back.
No. Cruise to the Far East, finish in Hong Kong, and come back.
And as we said, you're on plenty of shows yourself.
Yeah,
so on a YouTube channel.
Friday, on Mustafi Quiz with TJ and Harry Scarf, which is a preview show every Friday. That does change to the odd week because obviously we're going to have loads of Christmas pictures. I don't know what's going to happen. But mainly it's on the Friday night. And then obviously I've got my own channel, Hotspur TV. And you find me on socials at Hotspur92. Yeah. And
Mr. Brian Daigle, your channel doesn't really need any introduction, but if you're crazy and you haven't yet subscribed, tell us why they're crazy, Brian Daigle.
Well, no, I'm not going to start saying people you're crazy. That's not my position. That's not going to entice them to come to the channel.
2023.
What I will say is we've got a lot coming on. I have now decided that I just don't sleep. So Cockerel Doodle Doo that was daily Monday to Friday whilst I was in England, but went back to Monday, Friday with just Ben doing it. I've decided that we need some consistency. So I'm waking up at 3:30 in the morning, every morning in Toronto, Monday to Friday, to bring Cockerel Doodle Doo, your daily Spurs show. So I'm getting up at 3:30 in the morning to do this for people. So doing that, as Ian said, we are starting to pre-record our Tottenham on Tour Tottenham Advent calendar.
Oh yeah, I heard about
We're going to have a lot of fun, and we're recording a couple of them tomorrow, ready to go out on said day 1 to 24. Not going to tell you what day Ian's on or who the players are. And there'll be the late show. Oh my God, I've got a busy day tomorrow. There will be the late show that we put on at 9 p.m. Toronto time, Wednesdays and Sunday evenings, which is 2 a.m. back home in the UK for you night owls, and late morning, early afternoon, depending what time it is in Australia and the Far East. So, Ian, you can watch the late show whilst you're in Singapore. You can come and join us.
Yeah, it'll be 10 o'clock in the evening on Sunday night. I think I'll be watching that. So there's bound to be a bar somewhere in Singapore I can sit and watch that.
There you go. So yeah, lots coming on.
Do they have lady boys there? I think that's the wrong.
What, Tottenham on Tour? No, we haven't dived into
Singapore. That'd be different. That'd be different. I'd watch that if you advertise that. I'll be there.
Yeah, we haven't gone down that road. We haven't gone down that road yet.
Right. Peace out, everyone. Get us up to 34 likes. If you haven't smashed a like, please get us up to 40. We want at least 40 on these Tuesday shows. Look at this wonderful panel. You have to hit the like for us. So yeah, peace out. Stay classy. Next show Thursday, unless Dan's sporadic. Dan's here, there, and everywhere. Dan might do a show or two in between. So yeah, peace out, everyone. Much love.
Leave you out.